Sophia here, day 11. I am quilting today, and I'm quilting because Marianne had sent me a comment and she said she wanted me to do a quilting video because she needs inspiration to get back to quilting. So guess what we're making? We're making a table runner, a pumpkin table runner. This is half of it because I did the video already for these two, and I need to do two more, but I want to show you what it looks like, half of it. So basically these are big blocks. They are just like a log cabin, and then you see it has the stem with the two leaves, and then I have another pumpkin here that has just one leaf. So the other part, which goes this way, which is the other half, is going to be exactly the same thing but inverted this way. All right, so there's going to be this, and then on the other side what I just showed you. So this is the quilt I'm making. We are making a table runner, y'all, and I'm going to tell you exactly everything you need for fabric. I still have some here. I'll give you the measurements and everything, show you how to make it, and in the next video I'll have it all assembled and we'll be ready to quilt. I hope you like it. It's a little bit modern. It's not necessarily what I would pick, but I wanted to pick something that was a little bit easier for those of you who are inspired and want to get back into quilting and you feel that you've lost your dexterity. Again, it's just like a log cabin. What do we have? We have a 4-patch here with just one block, and then the rest goes in circle like this. Very easy to put together. It's actually very fast. I did that in one evening. So I'm going to leave you and show you the video I filmed yesterday. I'm going to edit this video and then probably finish this. I don't know what I'll do for number 12. To be honest, we are in the middle of having the house sided. It is a hot mess outside. It's just like there is stuff everywhere. But right now we're quilting, so I may not have a video for Saturday. I'm just letting you know. Let's get started. So let's start, and this is going to be super easy to make. We're going to start by making the pumpkin, and then we'll make the stem with the two leaves. All right, so this is what you need. I'm making 4 pumpkins, so you're going to need 16 squares in 4 different colors, and they need to be 1.5 by 1.5. You need 4 square, and you'll see that we're going up in 2 inches increment after that. So these are 4 squares in 2.5 by 2.5. 8 that are 2.5 by 4.5. 8 that are 2.5 by 6.5. This is 8 2.5 by 8.5. You see, by 2, right? We're incrementing or increasing by 2. This is 8 that are 2.5 by 10.5. Here I have 8 that are 2.5 by 12.5, and these are just 4. That's the top of the pumpkin. That are 2.5 by 14.5. Right. So press that. I hope you got a pen and paper and you wrote that down. And what we're going to do, this is just like a log cabin, really. We're going to start with the middle. So you take one of each. So you take one of each in your 4 different fabric. I'll do this and that. Let's do this one this way. Okay, and just like a log cabin, once you have that, you're going to add another one. Now I don't have, it's not the same size right now because there's no seam yet, so let me put them together so it looks like there's a 1/4 of a seam. Let's do this instead, right? Because they get shortened once you sew them together. Okay, so then you get this, right? And then after that, what you need is to add the ones that's pretty much the same size. So that's gonna go this way. So again, this one at a 1/4 of an inch seam, so it's going to go a little bit shorter, like this. All right, and then you keep building around. But let's start with the middle, with this 4, because that's going to be easier instead of trying to build it without actually sewing it together. So you just grab one of each 4 squares and you're going to sew at 1/4 of an inch here, these 2 and then these 2. Then press them, and once they're pressed and together, imagine this is together, you're going to put those 2 here and you're going to sew them. But let's do that so you can see what I'm doing. And then after I pressed them, you'll probably be able to see a little bit better what I mean. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other 2. Put them together, 1/4 of an inch seam. Now you notice that I'm not taking out the other one over there. I'm doing more of a chain. It saves time. And once I'm in about a stitch or 2, I just do a quick reverse. That's it. And also you notice that I'm on the walking foot, because it's much easier when you have small pieces to hold them together. Oh no, the furnace is back on. It must be winter. Okay, so I have 2 and 2. Alright, so all we do now is put them together. I'm gonna do this way. So I'm just gonna bring them here and stitch right here at 1/4 of an inch seam. And what you want to make sure is that you have your 2 seams here aligned. So you want to go a little bit like this, and you want to make sure they are, you get that little cross, right? You see that? Okay, so let me do that, and then we'll press it and we'll have a square. So here we go, I have my 4 patch. So now I'm ready to add my 2.5 by 2.5. And we're going to put it this way. Now this is how you know that you've done a pretty good job with your seam, because you don't have to trim. You're exactly at 2.5 by 2.5. So I'm just going to put this one this way, right side together. And right here we're going to do a 1/4 of an inch seam, and now we're going to have a rectangle. And here we go, we got our 4 patch, a 2.5 by 2.5 square. And now right here at the bottom I'm going to add 1 rectangle that's 2.5 by 4.5. Right? And same thing, we're just going to go right side together, put it right here, 1/4 of an inch seam, and press. Here we go. So now guess what we're doing? Remember we did 8 of those 2.5 by 4.5, right? So I have basically 2 per pumpkin. I have 4 pumpkins, so that's 8. Well, then the next one is gonna go just right here, and look at that. Perfect size. So this one, I'm putting it on this side. Same thing. Everything is the same principle. Put it right side together, 1/4 of an inch seam, and press. Right, next is the next increment. So we were at 4.5. We're gonna go for the 6.5, and the 6.5 is right here, and I'm gonna put it right there. You see how the sizing is just perfect? I'm not over. So you just continue everything is the same. You see how fast this goes? We'll have a pumpkin in no time. Right side to right side, 1/4 inch seam, and press. Well, for this one, we're doing the same thing we did here. We're gonna do a repeat. So we're gonna grab another one. And this one goes right here. All right. Follow the same principle. This is a 6.5 by 2.5. We're not going to 8 yet. 8 is going to be the next one. And for 8, we're going to do 2 of the same. All right. So it really is like a log cabin. So let's do this. Put those two together, and then I'll show you what having the 8.5 by 2.5 will look like. So what you do when you're a little bit off by only a tiny bit, do you see it right here? A little bit off. So you just go here and you square it off. All right, because you don't want that tiny little piece here to throw you off, because then your pumpkin is going to be all crooked. So we got this taken care of. The next one is the 8.5 by 2.5, and this one, same thing, you need 8. Why? Because they're going to follow each other. Now we're going in circle, we're doing a chain. All right, so we go back to the way we had it, which is the right orientation right here. I'm going to move it up a little bit, and then this one goes right here, and then the next one is going to go right here. All right, so let me do that, and then we'll do the next step. So here it is. I'm off a little bit right here, so I'm just going to square that off. Keep it on the edges right here and on the edges here, and just take out that tiny little sliver of fabric that's off. Okay, we just did the 8.5, and here's my 10. And I'm going to do the same thing. 10. I have one going this way. Let me move those. And the next one is going this way. So let me do this. I'll be right back. Next is the 12.5. And for that, I've picked this bright orange. So we're following exactly the same principle. One here and one here. And by the way, I need to iron those. Whenever you press, you want to press towards the outside. So you see how this is nice and flat. So let's say I'm ready to press this one. What I'll do is that I'll put the seam going towards the outside, and then I'll press and press this way. And then when I do this one, I'll put the seam towards the outside and then press it this way. So it's always going towards the outside, and it follows the same pattern, so everything stays nice and flat. So let me do this one, and then we'll do the final one and make the stem. So I'm putting it back in its original position. Remember, we started with those 4, we added this one, that one, then these 2, and then we went this way, and this way in a circle. But now we need the top, and the top is the one that is 2.5 by 14.5. And for this one, I picked this fabric. It's gonna bring it together very nicely, and this one goes all the way on top like this, and we'll do exactly the same thing. 1/4 inch seam, put it this way. You'll have to trim it a little bit, and that will complete a pumpkin. After that, all we have to do is the stem and the 2 leaves. So I'm ready to make the stem, and what I'm doing here, since I have 4 pumpkins, I'm gonna do 2 pumpkins with 2 leaves, so that's 4 leaves. For the 2 big pumpkins are gonna be on the middle part of my runner, and then for each pumpkin on either edges, these are only gonna have 1 leaf each. So I have 2 and 2, that's 4, 5 and 6. So I need 6 4.5 by 6 in a green pattern. And what I got here is green, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's got a little bit of shimmer on it. Okay, so 6 4.5 by 6. Then for the stem themselves, I have 4 pumpkins, so I need 4 stems, and these are 3.5 by 4.5. Then for the 2 pumpkins on either edge, because they only have 1 leaf each, they're each gonna need something on the other side of the stem that doesn't have a leaf. So that's gonna be this pattern here. It's a plain beige, it's kind of a little bit of a polka dot on it, or cheetah, whatever scale, type pattern. All right, so I need 2 for the 2 edge pumpkins, 4.5 by 6, and then I need 12 of the 2.5 by 2.5 in the same beige color. And what I'm going to do with these squares is show you how to snowball one of the leaves so you can create the pattern. So what you do, I'm going to get closer a little bit. All right, so this is going to be 1 leaf, and for 1 leaf I need 2 of those squares. I'm going to place 1 right here at this corner. I'm going to take my pencil and my ruler, and I'm going to mark right here from one corner to the other, and I will sew directly on that line, because once I've sewn on the line and I fold it, matter of fact, let me do this with the ruler, it's easier, and I fold this back, this corner here will take over where the green used to be. And I'm going to do the exact same process right here. So I mark corner to corner. I'm right side to right side, okay? And I'll sew directly on this line. I'll cut it at 1/4 inch right here. I'll show you the process. And then this gets folded back this way and pressed. So let me sew both of them and then cut them. I'll show you how to cut, where to cut, and then press them, and we'll have leaf number 1. Can you see my stitch line? Right here and right here. So let me turn this way. Get my rotary cutter, and I'm marking 1/4 inch from the seam line and cutting. I don't need this. I have 1/4 inch here until I reach the seam line, and this gets folded back, and it basically replaces my missing green square. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. 1/4 inch seam right here. I don't need this. And here we go. And that's my first leaf. Let me press this, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. So here it is pressed, right? So this would be the left leaf. Then I would have the stem this way. And then over here, I would have the same leaf, but going the other way. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. But for the outside pumpkins, the ones that only have 1 leaf, you would have 1 leaf going this way towards the outside, the stem, and then you add the larger square, and your pumpkin goes right underneath this way. And that would be your first pumpkin. Don't worry about these are absorbed with the seam. Now if you wanted to, you could also turn your pumpkin this way if you wanted it orange and have a different pattern at the bottom, or you can turn it whichever way. Alright, so let me show you how to do the other leaf. It's the same principle, you just snowball at the opposite corners. So for this one, I snowballed here and here, right? The process is called a snowball. So let me get 2 squares. And for this one, the first one I did this and that. For this one, I'm going to do this and that. So that way when I cut them, the leaf is going in the opposite direction. It's going this way. All right, so let me do this one, and then when I come back, I'll show you how to assemble this and attach it to the pumpkin. So here we go. I have a leaf that goes to the left, I have a stem, and I have a leaf that goes to the right. So that's for a pumpkin that has 2 leaves. I'm making 2 of those. If I only had 1 leaf pumpkin, 1 pumpkin on the left side of my runner would have the leaf going towards the outside, and this piece right here to replace the missing leaf. Aha, we're almost done. Okay, so here is my pumpkin, the one we just finished, and here are my leaves going this way. I'm gonna move all my stuff out of the way, right? And this part goes right here. This is my first pumpkin. Now, I don't like this fabric at the end here, because what happens is that it doesn't really belong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because that's a square anyway, I'm going to go this way. And my pumpkin is going to look this way instead. I could go this way if I wanted to. You got to pick and choose, okay, which way you want to go. I think I like this one better, because that looks a little bit more like a pumpkin. Alright, so all you have to do is take this part, put it this way, 1/4 inch seam all the way across, flip it over, press it, and you'll have your first pumpkin. So again, you need 2 pumpkins with 2 leaves. I'm going to move this here so you can see. And then you need 2 pumpkins with just 1 leaf. So here you go, that's pumpkin number 1, the one with the 2 leaves. Now, I really don't care for this fabric here at the bottom. That's an easy fix. I just have to remove it and pick a different orange type fabric. I am in my stash, and yep, I think I'm gonna do maybe this one instead, or I could do something a little bit darker like this instead. I may go with that because it's a similar fabric than this one. It's a batik. So instead of having this, I can either have that or this. Let me see, what else do I have that's in the orange family. I have this, but I don't know if I like this one. That's not too bad. I could do that too. I have to think about it. But bottom line is that that larger piece right here, I don't care for it. It doesn't match the rest. So I'm going to replace it either with this, this, or this. And I think I have to think about it. I think I'm going to replace it with this one. Alright, so let me do that. I'll be right back. Right, so forget everything I just said about how you need to put this leaf on the other side. You don't, okay? You just do it exactly the way I just did it, because when you're going to put it upside down on the other side, this way, the leaf will automatically go towards the outside. Alright, so that's my pumpkin runner for now. The next time you'll see me, I'll have a full runner ready for quilting. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. and I hope I inspired you to get back to quilting. Marianne and others, thank you so much for supporting my quilting efforts. Love you guys. Bye. Thanks for watching.